Hi everybody, welcome to this third video on Accelerated Awakening. Now in this video I want to show you how this model of small group awareness experiences works, why it works, how it works, and what benefits and results you can create through the practice of this so that you can be in a real clear place to understand whether this feels like something you're going to want to participate in. Now, what I'd like to start with is where I come from in my work. I teach what's called heart intelligence, right? So this is not an intellectual left brain process. It's not about understanding facts. It's not about applying theories or having ethereal awareness. This is about embodiment. And the difference between other intellectual ethereal practices or spiritual awareness practices compared to embodiment practices is that I'm trying to help people have an in-the-body experience. We're not trying to transcend and get out of our life. It's about how do we deeply go into our experience and find the juice in it. The juice being defined as the emotional, energetic power that fuels our life. And the juice comes from the body. Without coming into the body, we can't get access to the fuel that actually causes what it is that we want to materialize. That is the fuel that sends that rocket of desire up into the universe, where then life rearranges itself to give that to us. Embodiment means, are you body aware? Are you enough connected to the emotional, energetic sense of your own physical body so that you can actually feel the passion and feel the emotion moving through you? Some people can actually feel a lot of emotion, but they don't let it enter and move through their body. They are in touch with their feelings, but not in touch with their emotional expression. The ability to have congruence, that is a clear compatibility or a clear channel between what you're feeling and what's coming out, and have that be shown. And even though that's scary, that is so vital if we are to be effective, not only as manifestors, but also as just powerful in our relationships in all areas of life. Because when you are able to show outwardly what's actually going on inwardly, it feels real, and that creates a sense of safety for people, because people feel they could trust what they see on the outside is the same as what they intuit on the inside. Now, when I facilitate these small group awareness experiences, I follow some very important principles. The first truth that comes from me and kind of goes through all of my work is that there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Therefore, there is nothing that needs to be fixed, there's nothing that needs to be removed, there's nothing that has to be cut out. And in fact, where I come from is that we can only change something that we can be at peace with. So to the degree that we make a part of us wrong is the degree to which that part is fueled to stay in its place to hijack you. In other words, it's often our judgment of a certain aspect of ourselves that keeps that in charge and in power and keeps us stuck. So it's only when we accept who we are as we are without making who we are wrong is the time when we can actually move forward in our lives. And so the primary principle is one of the path to change is to feel safe enough to come into relaxation of who we actually are and to be okay with that. Often we encounter a lot of stress in our lives: emotional stress, chemical stress, physical stress, energetic stress, work stress, chemical stress through foods we eat. You name it. We are bombarded with things that cause us to contract, to go into defense. When we're in defense, our physiology, our body reacts in a certain way, and we often close down emotionally, energetically, physically. We become less clear, we develop habits and addictions that aren't serving our fullest potential. And when that happens, we don't have access to our choice, we don't have access to change. And therefore, what I've realized is that change becomes available when we allow people the opportunity to feel safe enough, that is, to realize that in fact the environment is not needing the defense, but in fact where they can actually feel safe enough to relax, to open. And that's the first priority of all small group awareness experiences that I facilitate, is that I want to bring in such a safe, nurturing space where everybody feels they can just melt. Because once that happens, there's a different chemistry that occurs in the brain that allows them to come into the front, where they actually can have more choice about what it is that they want in their life. They access more self-awareness. They become more empowered. So relaxation and safety is one of the primary framework intentions and processes that occur in any of these small group experiences. The objective, the function, is to come into our joy. That is, it's not so much about trying to deal with issues, to go into a psychotherapy model of trying to process what's going on for people. The model is very, very simple. It's, what does it take? What is it that you're wanting to come into magnificence, to come into your bliss, to come into your deepest joy? Because that's really terrifying for people. People find it easy to go into their stuff, find it easy to tell all about what's not working. But to focus and to come into the deepest amounts of happiness and joy, that's really tough, because we have a powerful resistance program that actually keeps us away from experiencing too much. There's a cutoff point that as soon as we receive a certain amount, boom, it cuts off. It's called Len's law. So in this retreat, in these small group awareness experiences, we get to look at how we defend against our own happiness, how we put blocks up against going into our joy. So the focus is always on, what is it that you want to come into your heart to feel great? And then we look at what resistance comes up naturally as you go in that direction. And then I help guide you to coming into your heart in spite of your resistance. So you get to digest it bit by bit. So that by the end of the experience, you've learned through your own study of your own awareness and what other people are going through, how you close, how you go and defend against your own happiness and resistance, and you become very knowledgeable about how you can actually avoid those traps and those pitfalls that keep you stuck and hijack you and move you out of your joy. Now that is invaluable information. I mean, can you imagine you're coming out of that with intrinsic internal awareness of how you sabotage and ways to move out of it and stay present and into your joy, being real, being connected, and being heart-directed in your life. I think that's invaluable. This isn't a place where people come and get into their drama and talk about their story and dwell on all the bad things that are happening in their life. It's not that kind of experience. The focus on this retreat, or these small group awareness experiences, is built on 3 specific questions. And as a facilitator, I guide people and keep people focused on these 3 questions so that they don't go into the drama. Because what I've noticed is that a lot of people go into their story or into their drama. It's part of their defense mechanism that keeps them from feeling deeply what's going on in their life. In other words, when we try to access what it is that we want, we often don't have access to it because we're telling the story about it rather than feeling what we're really wanting. So in these experiences, my job is to focus people through a very powerful framework called the 3-step process, which is I help people get real by focusing on what it is that's actually going on for them, to really be real with what's actually happening. Then we look at how can we access what it is that we want to feel better, to connect to our power, to get in touch with the bigger aspect of ourselves. And again, we use the group to elicit and support that process, because again, it's far quicker to do that with other people's support than to do that by ourselves. And then we look at the inspired action piece. What is it that we want to do that feels so good and is in alignment with our heart, rather than the things we think we should do because we're conditioned to think that, well, in order to have the money, in order to have the income, we need to do this, this, and this, and this. So the action piece comes after connecting to what's real, where we are, and where do we want to go. And the reason why that's so powerful is because, just like a GPS system, you need to know where you are and where you want to go in order to have an efficient direction or control. A lot of people don't know their own direction. They're in doubt. They don't know how to go from A to B because they're in doubt about whether their direction is accurate, whether it's coming from their stuff or whether it's coming from their higher wisdom. So one of the ways you can trust your heart is to practice following it. And that's what we do in a very safe and enjoyable way in these small group awareness experiences. One of the first things we do is we look at, well, what is it that creates juice? And what is it for you specifically? Because it's not going to be the same for everybody. For example, some people find their juice connecting to their emotions. Some people have it through connecting to their mind. Some people have it when they connect to their higher intelligence. In other words, you can access fuel in loads of different, what Donny Epstein calls, energetic intelligences. So therefore, you've got your physical body, your emotional body, your energetic body, your mental body, and your higher spiritual soul body, if you like. And each of those, which he calls houses, contain incredible fuel that we can use to transform our life and to manifest our deepest desires. And we'll always have access to one of those houses better than another. And therefore, in this Heart Intelligence retreat, in these small group awareness experiences, I take people through an exploration of each of those houses. So we can actually get the fuel from each of those. Because in our culture, we're so predominantly learning the IQ, the intellectual frequency, but that is like 10% of the greater intelligence that's available to us. I mean, it's profound what is potentially there. I remember I have this wonderful mentor who I talk about a lot. He was a stranger I met in the desert. And he carries this intelligence which is so beyond the mind. I mean, his mental intelligence is sharp, but it's no means genius. But he carries this heart intelligence in such a way that, well, I remember when we were in New York, he came into the room, into a post office where we were just buying some tickets. And this woman comes running in, completely crying, wailing, and she just runs towards him. And he just takes her, looks her in the eyes, says, "It's okay, go back to your sister." And he's so present with her, and he feels into her heart so powerfully. And she just relaxes and just hugs him and walks out and says, "Thank you." And I looked at him and says, "Well, that must be a friend, right? Who is that?" And he goes, No, I have no idea. It was a complete stranger." In other words, and I was like, what? A stranger? How does that happen? Where somebody just intuitively knows the person who could match them and meet them in that moment. And I was so fascinated. I loved that. I thought, I want to learn what it takes to be so in touch, so powerful within myself that I could really experience that kind of juice and joy and service to other people, make a difference in people's lives at the post office, randomly, like that. And you would think that was a one-off occurrence. As I started spending time with him, it happened all the time. And I was like, I came home one day and I went, I surrender. I thought I had some idea about what's going on, but I have no idea. What I've seen today just blows my mind of what's actually possible. And that's what inspired the Embracing Change experience and the Heart Intelligence retreats and the small group awareness experiences 10 years ago. This all happened about 10 years ago. And for the last 10 years, I've been teaching this stuff and learning with him and learning with other great guys and other teachers who've helped me kind of package it and get the framework right to have it efficiently delivered. But it was those original experiences 10 years ago that opened my eyes to what was possible, because our culture does not experience what I'm talking about. There is no real cultural experience or story around how to explain what I saw and what I've experienced. But I do have a way to show that world to you, which is what I'm excited about sharing with you now. Now, I really hope that you've enjoyed these videos so far and that you're getting to see the power of these small group awareness experiences and just see how these trainings can actually elicit and create such a powerful transformation in our personal and professional lives. Now, in the next and final video, I want to share with you how you can come and join us and actually have this experience and to take that and to experience this journey with us. It's a very, very exciting journey. It's not going to be for everybody. And in the next video, I'm going to share with you why it may not be for you. But in the meantime, have a wonderful day, and I will speak to you soon. All the best.